Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's conference call with Ohio State. Joining us today will be Ryan Day, Trey Sermon, and Tuff Borland. Justin Fields is unavailable, but will be joining us later in the week. I would like to open the session with Coach Day making some opening remarks, and then we'll turn it over to questions and answers. If you like to ask a question, please use the raise hand function, and we will be calling on you one by one. Thank you. Coach Day?
Thanks, Brett. This is quite an honor to be in the national championship game. You know, we're obviously very excited to be here. This is something that our guys fought so hard to have this opportunity, and now we're here. Unbelievable opportunity to play. A great program. So much respect for Coach Saban and his staff and the players and their tradition of winning there. So really looking forward to a great week of preparation as we work our way down to Miami.
Thank you, Coach. We'll begin the question and answers today with Bill Rabinowitz. Bill, you're up.
Hi, Ryan. After the game, you said you didn't know the extent of Justin's injury after it happened, but that he said he didn't feel he had any chance but to return. I think what you meant is that Justin himself wanted to play so much that he felt he had no choice to return, as opposed to pressure imposed on him by anyone else to get back on the field. Can you clarify that, as well as what the medical protocol is for players who've been hurt to be cleared to return? And of course, how is Justin? What's your level of confidence he can practice and play?
Sure. I mean, I think when you first off, saw the way that Justin finished the game, it was remarkable. I mean, I thought that was one of the gutsiest performances I've ever seen in person. And, it was like any other situation that was certainly high profile to see it all go down. But, I leave all that stuff up to the medical, our medical people who are the best in the country. And, Justin's such a competitive guy. He wasn't going to come off the field, and that's just the way he's wired. You're going to have to pull him off the field. And, it was pretty amazing performance. And, it was good the next day. He actually, his comment to me was that, he felt better waking up in the morning than he expected. So, we'll keep working through the week and, have a great week of preparation, get ready to play on Monday night.
Next up is Dennis Dodd. Dennis?
Hey, Ryan. How do you explain, Justin going from, at least statistically, his worst game of his career to his best? And then along with that, can you even share with us if the ribs are broken or anything, or how bad are they?
So I think when you look at the Northwestern game, there was a lot at play there. First off, Northwestern's very, very good defensively, and they make things hard for us. And we were just a little off in a certain area, and that's all it takes, is to be a little off. And I think, too, it got us out of rhythm a little bit that, Chris was out, Jackson was out, and that threw us a little bit off rhythm. So I think it's a combination of those things. And then to turn around and play the way he did, I think that shows, again, his competitiveness when we started to hear some rumblings and about the fact that he didn't play very well. And I know that bothered him, and it took a couple of days to recover from. But that's part of being a quarterback. And I think that's part of learning as a quarterback, is overcoming adversity. And the truth is, he really hasn't had a lot of adversity. This is somebody who's had a lot of success throughout his career. He's very, very talented and very, very smart. And so when you look at the great quarterbacks, they all have to overcome that adversity. And so as we talked after that game, this was just another step in his journey. And what really matters is how he returns and how he recovers. And I thought the way he played in the game was excellent, but it was more important, like you're saying, he played coming off of that, that game that he felt like he didn't play great in. And that's a sign of great growth as a quarterback, which was huge.
Next up is Andrea Adelson. Andrea?
Ryan, just as a follow-up to what Dennis asked, can you tell us the specific injury that Justin has and whether you expect him to play?
Yeah, I definitely expect him to play, but yeah, we don't get into specifics on injuries. We give our availability report at the end of the week, and that's always been our policy.
Okay, as a quick follow-up on a different topic with Trey Sermon and his emergence. I think you said after the game that it started around Michigan State that a light switch came on for him. Why do you think that was? Because you said maybe early on he wasn't making the type of impact perhaps that you all expected. Why was it then that something changed for him?
Yeah, I think that's a great question for him. I don't know if he'll be able to give a great answer there, but I think there's a couple things at play. One, he didn't have the lead up like a normal, running back would have going into the season because of the lack of the preseason. Came in during the summer, didn't have that lead up like he typically would, and then he was coming off of the injury. And again, those are the two things I use. I don't know if he would say that or not, but I look to those two things as so. And then also our run game is a little different than what he was used to. He was also splitting time with Master, and so when he started getting more at bats, he started to get more runs, got no rhythm of the game, and I think now you're seeing the best version of Trey. And the best part about Trey is when all that was going on, he never came into my office, never complained, never said I need more carries, none of that stuff. Just kept his mouth shut and kept going to work. And I think that's what's the best part of this whole story is that he just kept going every single day to work and never said anything about it. And now he's playing at a high level. I mean, it's really remarkable what he's done. Over 500 yards in two of the biggest games of the year. And, he has a chance to go down in Ohio State history as one of the best runs ever. If he can have another performance in this game like he did the last two. So hats off to him. But I think a lot of it has to do with our offensive line, our tight ends, and our running game as well.
Next up, Ralph Russo. Ralph?
Hey, Ryan. Thanks for doing this. I wanted to ask you about clearly the passing game is exploding. And because of that, wide receivers become more important just because you're throwing more. But is there more to it that way? It seems like now you cannot have a great team without really great receivers. You see Devontae and then your guys, Olave and Wilson. How has that position sort of evolved to the point where it seems like it's become maybe the second or third most important position on the offense?
I mean, it's very important. I think that the emergence of 7-on-7 has increased the skill level of a lot of receivers and quarterbacks. And, they get the ball in the perimeter a lot faster than maybe they did 10 or 20 years ago, spreading the field horizontally and vertically. And we're always looking, for ways to create explosives. And the easiest way to create an explosive is to throw the football. And so when you have that combination of run and pass, it really helps. Now, if you don't have the ability to run the football, and I think if you look at both teams here, both of us have really explosive receivers. Both of us have really good running games. And so because you can run the football, you just do the math on it. Somebody extra is going to be in the box, which opens up things down the field. If you don't have that ability to run the ball, that extra guy's now deep and it's too high shell and it's not as explosive. So I think it all goes hand in hand. But to go back to your original point, I do think, that receivers in the last 5 to 10 years, their skill level has increased overall nationally. And you're seeing some of the best in the country in this game.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Lane Higgins. Lane?
Thanks, Coach. Wanted to kind of follow up on the situation with Justin. I know that you're not getting into specifics for the game, but how will you approach preparation for this game if he's not able to take as many reps as per se usual in the week leading up to the championship?
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to practice the way we normally practice. Nothing's going to change.
Next up is Dan Hope. Dan?
Hey, Ryan, with as much as you all, put into beating Clemson all off season and just having that game, on your list all year, is there any concern about maintaining that same level of intensity and focus going into this game?
Well, the goal was never just to beat Clemson. The goal was to win the national championship. And all these guys who we didn't have a season, they were fighting to get back to play for a national championship. So while it was an emotional win, that wasn't the goal. The goal was to win this one. And so I'd be disappointed if we didn't play well in this game. This is everything on the line, everything we wanted. And so now all the focus goes on Alabama, and we just got to prepare. And the most prepared team is going to win the game. And we have to prepare, like we did the week before. The good news is I think we have a little confidence going into the game that we've shown what we can do, and now we got to go do it again. So, it's a good lead up time. We get 10 days here, and to kind of rest up a little bit, and then get to work and practicing. And so I think we'll be fresh and ready to roll. The virus still hasn't gone away, so we got to make sure we're really vigilant in that area, which is still a struggle. Day in and day out, it's just hard. But the preparation is just going to continue to go on. And, again, we said it going into the last game, we're going to have to play our best game. We're going to have to even play better than we did last week to beat Alabama.
Next, we'll hear from Mike Rodak. Mike?
There was a lot of buzz last week about where Dabo Swinney put your team in the coaches poll. How much attention do you pay to Nick Saban's ballot that had you at 5 behind Texas A&M at 4?
Yeah, that was, until you just said that, I wasn't aware. I really don't look at those things too much. Totally respect everybody's opinion, but, what matters is playing in the game.
Next, we'll hear from Kirk Bowles. Kirk?
Ryan, a lot of people have raved about Steve Sarkisian's play calling at Alabama. Is there anything that stands out to you about the way he goes about calling plays in the game?
He's got a great tradition of a lot of success on the offensive side of the ball. He's been around some unbelievable offenses, and he's got a great feel. I think, when you look at the things he does, the plays he runs, he puts the defense in a lot of stress. He's very aggressive. And he obviously really knows how to prepare an offense to create explosives, how to run the football. He's very, very talented. And when it comes down to calling plays, sure, there's a knack for it, but so much of it is the preparation that you put in leading up to it. And, it's always a good play when it works. That's what I always laugh about. Why'd you call that one? Because it worked. If it doesn't work, it's not a good play, and you're not a good play caller. So I think the big thing there is just, I don't know him as well, met him a few times, got a lot of respect for him, but he clearly does a great job in preparation, putting the game plan together, and then preparing the guys to execute it based on what they're going to see.
Okay. Next, we'll hear from Clay Hall. Clay?
I don't have an unmute. I don't know where it is.
Can hear you now, Clay.
You're on, Clay.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for hanging in there. Ryan, you're in rarefied air for a second-year head coach. What's it like to match wits and put a game plan together against a guy who's won 6 national titles?
Again, nothing but the utmost respect for Coach Saban and his staff. Anytime you get to this level, you got to be on your game, and you're going against the best in the world. And certainly Alabama is, and Coach Saban's career speaks for itself. Watched him win a lot of national championships, and so again, nothing but the utmost respect. But when you get to this level, it's going to be hard, no matter how you shake it. You got to be on top of your game, and you got to really do a great job of getting the guys prepared, playing at a high level, and that's what we're going to focus on.
Thanks.
Have time for just a couple more. Next up will be Bill Landis. Bill?
Hey, Ryan. Your offensive line has seemed to really grow here over the last couple of games, which is kind of remarkable considering you've only played 3 in like 40 days. And in all 3 of those, you had a different starting 5. Just how have they been able to do that given sort of all those challenges and different circumstances?
I think it goes back to practice, and that's the thing that we spent a lot of time talking about, was that because we weren't playing in as many games, we had to practice really hard. We had to practice against each other. The D-line had to go against the O-line, the ones versus ones. And that was the only way that we were going to get better fundamentally. It wasn't always so much a schematic deal. It was more about getting pads down, hands inside, running feet, all the things that come with that. And that's just the guys up front. Linebackers, tight ends are the same way on the perimeter. And so that was the only way we could do it because we weren't playing in those games. And so I attribute it to practice, which our guys did a great job of. And you got to give a lot of credit to the guys. You got to give a lot of credit to the position coaches for getting them ready.
Great. And our final question for today for the coach will be from Steve Hummer. Steve?
There, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Justin was obviously very vocal at the beginning of the year about wanting to play and needing to play. How influential do you think he was, and what did that tell you, I guess, about his evolution of as a leader?
I think that was a huge step in his what you're calling evolution as a leader. I think that was big because when he first got here, he had leadership skills. I think his ability on the field pulled some guys with him, and I think that as time went on, he became more and more of a leader. I thought what he did at the Team Up North game last year, after coming back after taking that shot in the knee, and then coming out for one play and going back in, and then throwing that touchdown pass was amazing. I mean, he's as tough of a competitive guy as I've ever been around, and because of that, your teammates see that, and then to see the way he worked in the offseason, and then to see him fight and speak up for his teammates, and then to see him come back and play the way he's played. The big play in the Michigan State game where he's running down and blocking for Trey Sermon on a run, the way that he came back and played gutsy in this game, Friday night. Again, I think those were all steps in the evolution, but I do think that it was significant when he spoke up. I think that was a big step for him. But this is something that's been growing over time, and it's great to watch and be a part of.
Thanks a lot, Coach. Appreciate your time today. We look forward to having you join us here later in the week.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much.
Everyone can just stay here if you're interested. Trey Sermon will be next, followed by Tuff Borland. Just be a moment or two before we'll have Trey in the chair.
All right, guys, we got Tuff Borland here.
Tuff, thanks for joining us here today. We have a number of media lined up here that would like to ask you a few questions. So we'll just kick things off. Can you hear me okay?
Could you turn the volume up? Is there?
Yeah. How about now? Is it better? How about now? Can you hear better now, Tuff?
I think that's right.
How about test now? 1, 2, testing.
Got
1,
it.
2.
Got it.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we will kick things off. As I mentioned, we have a number of media lined up here, so we'll kick things off with Pat Murphy. Pat?
Tough. Ryan just said, as good as you guys played against Clemson, you'll have to be even better against Alabama. From a defensive standpoint, I'm sure there's a number of things that stands out when you watch them, but what are maybe the one or two things that stand out the most from the Crimson Tide offense?
Yeah, unbelievable team, unbelievable players. They got talent all over the place. Big physical offensive line, playmakers on the perimeter. Coach Day said, you know, we're going to have to play our best game. You know, no, we're going to have to play our best game this week. We're going to have to find another level for sure.
Next, we'll hear from Bill Rabinowitz. Bill?
Hi, Tough. I want to ask you about Justin Hilliard. You guys have both overcome a lot, and he's overcome even more than you have. Can you just kind of speak to his journey and what it means to everybody on the team to see him succeed the way he has, and just how well is he playing right now?
Yeah, he's a guy that's pretty much seen it all, the good, the bad, the ugly. He's seen it all. He's fought through so much on and off the field, and to see the success that he's having, it's awesome. Justin, he's an unbelievable player, but he's an unbelievable person as well. And again, just to see the success that he's having, one, nobody's surprised because of how hard he works, and two, he deserves everything that comes his way because, he's a warrior, always has been, and he's getting everything he deserves. Sorry.
Thank
you. Next will be Dennis Dodd. Dennis?
Hey, Tough. Thanks for doing this. Coach Day just described how Justin's leadership skills have developed, how he won over the team. I wonder if you would talk about that, just maybe starting with the Michigan game where he came back from that hit and I think hit Garrett Wilson for a big gain or a touchdown, and just playing with the ribs on this week. What kind of leader is he?
Yeah, he's a guy that's come in, since day one he's been here. He's done everything that, the coaches have asked of him, really built that trust and that respect of everyone in the program. And you can go, every week. He's always battling something. And you guys saw it, is, one of the gutsiest performances, from a player that I can remember in my time here. So you can't say enough good things about Justin and what he's doing and what he means to this program.
Next up, we'll have Bill Landis. Bill?
Hey, Tough. If I'm not wrong on this, I think you committed to Ohio State a few months after they won the national title against Oregon. And I'm wondering what that run meant to you, and maybe what specifically seeing Ohio State beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl that year did to, alter your perception of Ohio State's program at all.
It was cool to see them have the success that they did have that year, but that wasn't a deal breaker for me whether or not they were going to win. I think you win with people, and that's why I ultimately chose this place. It's just how special the people are. Flash forward 5.5 years later, we have an opportunity to do that again. But Alabama's a great team. We have a great challenge ahead of us. So we're going to have to have our best week of practice and play our best game.
Next up will be Austin Ward. Austin?
Tough. It's pretty remarkable how far this front seven and the linebackers have come since this time 2 years ago. How much credit does Al Washington get for that, and what has he been like as your position coach?
Coach Washington's been amazing. Deserves a lot of credit in what we've done day in, day out. He's always there for us. Just the way he approaches his business every day, with the energy, the passion, it's truly contagious. And I think it just shows in how, we've kind of taken off, in this last season. So give him a lot of credit.
Next up will be Kurt Burmester. Kurt?
Hey, Tough, I heard you were talking about the skill that Alabama has on the perimeter there. Just wondering if you can talk to how you guys are going to have to control that kind of explosiveness they have on Monday.
I don't want to get too into specifics, but, we talk about keeping them inside of us and keeping them in front of us, and that's certainly something we're going to have to do this week.
We have time for just a couple more. So next we'll hear from Tim May. Tim?
Thank you. Tough, more on that aspect of the game when a team has an established big-time back like Najee Harris. How does it just change your focus? I know you're always focused on stopping the run, et cetera, but how does it kind of change your focus as a play starts to know there's a big-time running back there? Like pretty much Alabama's going to be looking at Ohio State in the same way with Trey Sermon.
Yeah, got to be locked in every play because he can hurt you. He's a bigger back, like you said, but he shows great patience and great acceleration when he decides he wants to turn it up into the hole. Huge challenge. He's a great player, a great offensive line as well. So we'll have to be ready for the challenge.
All right. And our final question for Tough comes from Nathan Baird. Nathan?
Tough, just what kind of a confidence boost did the Clemson game give this defense? And did you feel like it was something that this defense needed to see after just how choppy the second half of the season had gone?
I think we've always had confidence in ourselves. I think it just showed us kind of what we're capable. I think we've always believed we can compete with anybody in the country on any particular week. We practice against the best offense in the country every week. We have confidence we can compete, with everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, Tough. Appreciate your time here today.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Joining us next will be Trey Sermon. You want to lower your hands if you were lined up to ask Tough a question and interested in asking Trey one, please go ahead and raise your hand. while we are waiting, I will update the group that later today we will be sending out the media itinerary for both schools for Wednesday and Thursday's media sessions. So please be on the lookout for that email from the College Football Playoff. The Wednesday and Thursday media days for the two participating teams.
Alrighty, folks, got Trey Sermon here.
Trey, welcome. Thank you for joining us here today.
No problem.
Got a number of media here on the line. Have a few questions for you, so we'll get things underway. We'll kick things off with Ross Dellinger.
Hey Trey, can you tell us about that smirk into the ESPN camera that was caught on the camera there?
Just looking at the replay, and once the call got reversed, I kind of smirked because I didn't really think I was down, and then once I kind of saw my knee hit the ground, I was just like, I just barely touched it, but it was funny.
Next up, we'll hear from Andrea Adelson. Andrea?
Ross took my question, but I'm glad I have a second one. Trey, Coach said that something changed in the Michigan State game for you, just in terms of things coming together. Can you just explain why perhaps the light switch went on for you in that game and how you've been able to put together these last two?
I just wanted to be able to contribute more and just make the most of my opportunities. I felt like before, I just wasn't playing my best. So, it just kind of started in practice. I just started practicing, a lot harder than I was, just trying to just do whatever I can to just help myself improve.
All right. Next up will be Steve Hummer. Steve?
There we go. Hey, in your eyes, how much did it further Justin's standing as a leader on this team when he spoke so forcefully for you all to play a season this year? And then did he take it to a whole other level in a game like the semifinal?
Wait, what did you say? I couldn't really hear you.
Oh, there. I'm sorry, my internet's a little bulky here. Well, we'll just leave it at the how much in your eyes did he grow as a leader when Justin spoke so forcefully to play for a season this year?
He's grown a lot. He took on that role, and he spoke out, and he was trying to do whatever he could just to make sure we had the opportunity to play. And that just shows what type of guy he is. And everybody on this team respects him, and we know he's a great player. And he just kind of took on that role, and he's been doing a great job.
Next up, we'll hear from Kirk Bowles. Kirk?
Yeah, Trey, I'm curious if you would compare your hurdling skills with Najee Harris, and if you were a former track guy, and if you could go into your decision on why you did choose to leave Oklahoma.
I just wanted a better opportunity for myself, and I felt like it was just a good fit for me to come here.
Next up will be Brendan Gullick. Brendan?
Hi, Trey. Congratulations on getting a chance to play for a national championship. This has obviously been an emotional year filled with some really high highs and some low lows. I'm wondering if you could just put in perspective for us how special this opportunity is, how gratifying this is for you, given that you guys were fighting just to make sure you could even play a game this season, let alone have a chance to play for a national championship.
It's very special, and this team, this program, we persevered through so much, and to have the opportunity to play on such a big stage, it means a lot to us. We've been through a lot. We fought to just play, and just to be able to get the job done, to make it to this level. It just means a lot to us, and we know the job isn't finished yet, but we're definitely excited for the opportunity.
Thank you. Next up, we'll hear from Bill Rabinowitz. Bill?
Hi, Trey. Does this feel to you like a dream, or does it feel like this is something that you expected all along, or both?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, when I came here, my goal was to do whatever I can to help this team out and play for a national championship. And I mean, it's all happening. It does kind of seem like a dream, but I mean, it's just very exciting. I mean, just to know that we've come this far as a team, and I mean, we've executed, and I mean, we believe in each other, and just having this opportunity it's amazing. I mean, we're all excited.
All right. Next, we'll hear from Michael Casagrande.
Yeah, Trey, just wondering what you remember about the time you played Alabama in the Orange Bowl. Any memories coming out of that game, and anything you can take into this game from that experience?
I still just remember them being a tough physical team, and I know at the time, I mean, they were flying around, which is the same that they do now. I mean, they fly around all over the defense. And another thing that I can take into this game, that it goes by quick. I mean, it's great competition, and the games really go by fast. So, I mean, you definitely have to execute. And, I mean, you just have to make sure that you don't have any mistakes.
All right, next we'll hear from Austin Ward. Austin?
Trey, I wonder if you remember watching Zeke's postseason run now 6 years ago. I know you were just in high school then. If you had any memories of watching him, and if what that's like to see that you're now putting yourself in that same conversation.
Yeah, I definitely remember watching it, and it's just a great feeling. I mean, it's been a lot of great running backs that come through here, and Zeke is definitely one of the best running backs. And I mean, just to be in that conversation, it's an honor. I mean, those guys are great, and I mean, I just feel pretty good about what I've been able to accomplish so far. I mean, with the help of my offensive line. I mean, those guys are great, and they kind of make my job easy, and the tight end as well.
Next we'll hear from Dan Hope. Dan?
Hey, Trey, just what do you see so far watching Alabama's defense on film?
They're a physical group. I mean, they're big and strong. They fly to the ball. Their linebackers, they can move well. They're pretty dynamic, and I mean, they just fly to the ball, and they make plays.
Next, we'll hear from Patrick Murphy. Patrick?
Trey, you were asked earlier about the motivation to kind of get going, and you said you didn't feel like you were contributing. You started practicing harder. Was there a moment, maybe it was before the Michigan State game, maybe it was in the Michigan State game, where that light came on for you and you knew, okay, now I'm in comfort with the offensive line, and now I've got it rolling?
It actually started happening, I want to say like the week before in practice. I was just feeling good, just practicing. I mean, just hitting the holes and really just getting in sync with the offensive line. And once I got that feeling, I mean, again, I just started to just try to be consistent, continuing practicing hard, running a little extra, just doing all of that. And I felt like it translated over. And I mean, it kind of showed in the Michigan State game.
Next, we'll hear from Brandon Marcello. Brandon?
Hey, Trey, congratulations on reaching the national championship. I wanted to ask you about your relationship with Rashad and how he helped you in the off season, one with your footwork, but also just getting your confidence back to get you to this point. What did you guys work on? And when did that all come together and you realized that he really helped you, and how much credit do you give him?
Me and Rashad Ford King, we've been working with each other since my freshman year in college, and I mean I've kind of worked with him every off season, and coming off the injury, we just kind of worked on my foot placement so that I can get my explosiveness back, and I mean just working with him. Doing the different drills and all that type of stuff. It just made me gain confidence in my knee after having surgery and everything. And I just kind of felt good going into the season. And I mean, he pushes me hard. I mean, he doesn't allow me to make mistakes in drills. If I do, I mean, I got to start it back over. I mean, he coaches me hard every single day when I was training with him the entire time. And I mean, like if I'm a couple minutes late, he makes me run extra. Like I said, he just coaches me really hard, and I definitely appreciate him.
Great, we have time for just a couple more. Stephen Means, you're up.
Hey Trey, can you just take us back to when you actually got here and just what the last 6 months have been like? You get here thinking you're going to play for a team that's going to compete for a national championship, and then all of a sudden you're not playing, and I don't know what those emotions were like, and then how the season has kind of progressed for you. Like, when did you start to feel comfortable around your teammates? How has this last 6 months maybe gone for you as a transfer who didn't have maybe a normal season?
It was pretty rough in the beginning. I mean, just coming here and not being able to be around everybody, and then everything gets shut down and then picks back up, and it was pretty rough. And I mean, the guys, I mean, they welcomed me in from day one. So over time, I mean, of course, I've gotten more comfortable with those guys. And I mean, now, I mean, they're my brothers. I mean, they care about me a lot. They push me to be better. I mean, every day in practice. And it's a good feeling that, I mean, everything started to progress as the season went on. And I mean, we're all playing well, and I mean, we got to where we wanted to get to. So I mean, everything turned out pretty good. Now we just got to finish.
Did that maybe getting comfortable as things kind of progress maybe kind of help you on the field, and maybe some of the frustrations you were having there?
Yes, I think so. I mean, just getting closer with the guys. I mean, on the offensive side of the ball, knowing that I can trust them. I mean, they're gonna do their best for me, and I'm going to do my best for them. I feel like it contributed as well.
Who was like major in that, I guess? Like one of the first people that you reached out to you?
Really, it was just a few people. I mean, it wasn't really just one person at once. I mean, I built a relationship with really all the receivers. I mean, my offensive line as well. So, I mean, just kind of continuing just talking with those guys, and I mean just hanging out with them. I mean it just helped our relationship grow. And then I mean you can see on the field, I mean they fight for me, and I fight for them as well.
Our final question today comes from Jeff Spiegel.
Hey Trey, it sounds crazy that Ohio State's got something to prove in this game, because you guys have won so many football games over the years, this program has. But considering the fact that, you know, Dabo Swinney ranked you guys 11th, Nick Saban ranked you guys 5th, how big is the chip on this team's shoulder right now?
We have a pretty big chip on our shoulder. I mean, we just feel like we're one of the best teams in the country, and I mean we just try to go prove that every time we step on the field, and we all believe in each other. So I mean, yes, we have that chip, and we play with it.
Great, thank you very much, Trey.
Thank you.
Thank everyone for joining us today. This concludes our Ohio State press conferences. We will again be getting a schedule out later today, giving updates on Wednesday and Thursday's plans, as well as the team arrivals this weekend. Again, transcripts of today's calls will be available on College Press Box